Hey everyone, Michael here. Today we have some breaking news. Sam Bankman-Fried has decided to plead guilty. And so today we're going to be watching a couple of videos here to explain exactly what's going on because we may be headed for an open trial, which means just like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, we could actually have cameras in the courtroom so we could see all of this go down. Or he's just going to be playing a game here to try to get a better deal if he does end up pleading guilty to the Southern District of New York. So let's take a peek. All right, here's the first video. This is from Power Lunch. The guy on the right is an expert. The two co-panelist people, the two other guys, they're not really worth listening to. However, we will listen to the experts here, okay?
Are what is going to happen, and then what is going to happen next to him?
It's going to be very quick. He's going to plead not guilty. In fact, the court is pretty much not even set up to take a guilty plea at this stage, at this appearance. They'll also address bond, which is the federal system uses a bond system. And as we've heard about Bankman-Fried, he has friends, it appears, in very high places because his parents.
Of course, the guy has friends in very high places. Are you kidding me? This guy schmoozed up to so many people on Wall Street, so many people in the government. He's going to have friends in high places, especially if they don't want him to spill the secrets.
No surprise, parents frequently will put up the value of their house. But to make up that extra, you're going to need some pretty impressive property. And then what happens after that is pretrial services has to look to see that you really have that property that you're putting up. They kind of do a mini audit of what exactly these donors, I guess, for lack of a better term, actually own.
How
and whether
much
they can
does he
put it
have
up.
to put up? Remind us.
It's
total?
a $250 million bond, but in the federal system,
This is important. In the federal system, listen closely.
you may not even have to put in an actual penny or cryptocurrency or whatever. You just need to post usually property in the amount.
Sam Bankman-Fried literally just entered his not guilty plea. Exactly as you were saying, that they wouldn't even be set up to handle anything other than that at this moment. But the significance?
Yeah, it would be crazy for a defendant like Sam Bankman-Fried to even try to enter a guilty plea at this stage because you're giving up really one of your main bartering pieces with the government. If he does end up pleading guilty, it will be through negotiation.
Everything looks like it's going to be going through negotiation right now, but if it does end up going through trial, I do think that we are going to have an open trial where everybody will be able to see what's going on because the national interest is clearly, everybody wants to know what's going on here, as well as millions of people were defrauded by this guy.
Just as it appears reportedly, he negotiated his return from the Bahamas, waiving extradition, it appears, in exchange, and this is just based on reports I've read, that the government agreed to allow him to remain out pending trial. Now, a lot of people were shocked that he...
That is messed up. Honestly, I would be okay with the government letting it drag out if he had to rot in that prison in the Bahamas that looked like shit. Even if he had his own room and TV and stuff like that, and a fan, it's still not the same as being free in a nice house with your loved ones and family. I would have loved to see him be in that cell for extended periods of time without his medication.
He was allowed to remain out. But this is not what is in the federal system called a presumption case. There are no guns, no drugs. Even in these massive financial fraud cases, there is a possibility, and in fact, under federal statutes that address this, a presumption that a defendant like Sam Bankman-Fried should be able to get out pending trial.
Let's just go back.
That's very fucked up, guys. But this is how you guys know that all of these guys have lobbied Congress in the past to get these laws the way they are currently. So Sam Bankman-Fried is just taking advantage of the laws from the rich people from years before him.
To Kate for some context on this not guilty plea. Kate, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Kelly, so we are getting word, his lawyer is saying just now at the hearing that Sam Bankman-Fried is pleading not guilty to all counts here. As we mentioned earlier, there are 8 counts here, including fraud, money laundering, and wire fraud as well. But we have the official Sam Bankman-Fried pleading not guilty.
And also the conspiracy to do those same things as well.
To all counts.
It's very interesting, Danny. I assume that they can mitigate the flight risk here by a variety of means, presuming he does make bond and get released. But one thing that is very difficult to mitigate is the risk that this individual may pose to himself.
Not only to himself, but he also arguably would have been a flight risk because where'd they find him? In the Bahamas. I mean, this is something that courts would look at very closely. But if the government was already on board with him being released, and because the Bail Reform Act essentially requires the court to set a bond that is not so unreasonable, but that is reasonable enough that the defendant can make that bond. Now, you look at this number, it scarcely feels reasonable to the rest of us mortals, but apparently when you're dealing with Sam Bankman-Fried and whoever his wealthy friends are,
That's the big question. Who are his wealthy friends? If you guys have any information that you guys have just heard somewhere else, we're reporting on or whatnot, let me know in the comments, because I really want to know who these wealthy individuals are, because when they come out, I think there's going to be a lot of backlash against them if we ever know who they are. If we ever know who they are. Maybe they can be sealed by the unsealed by the judges if the media goes after it.
$250 million
If the media wants to go after it.
is apparently doable as a bond. But again, not putting up the actual cash. Instead, it's property usually that makes this.
Caitlin, let me turn to you, and let's turn the corner and talk a little bit about crypto. We know that FTX is gone, bluey, out of here, done. Is Bitcoin in a similar state of extremis?
You know how I feel about these dumbass questions, but it's not a valid question. But let's just listen to the answer. They have no idea about crypto. They just do it because us millennials and a lot of people on my age demographic like it.
Oh, heavens, no. You can see that not just from the price action, but also from the activity on the blockchain itself. I looked this morning at stablecoin on-chain volumes, and they've actually gone up since the early November explosion of FTX. So what does that tell you? It tells you this technology is alive and well and still functioning just fine on today, which happens to be the 13th birthday of Bitcoin, the 13th anniversary of the first Bitcoins mined in the Genesis block.
Well, happy lucky 13th to Bitcoin. I don't mean to pick a brawl with you here, Caitlin, but it seems to me that I find it difficult to believe that cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, maybe in particular, hasn't been bruised badly by this event and the decline in value that has taken place over the last 12 months or so.
Now, before we hear her answer very fast, I want to show you guys something, because, again, these anchors are pretty just dumb, okay? But they're smart, intelligent people sometimes. Now, we can all see this is Bitcoin's weekly chart. Forget that little bit of technical analysis over there. But it's come down a long way since those highs we saw back in November last year, okay? But if we go over here to other assets, let's just take a quick peek at Tesla. Tesla's coming down, right? It broke down below those support levels right there, and right here, and now it's heading back down to $91 or so. But we can go over to Amazon right now. Look at that. Amazon's crumbled a lot at the same time. Is Amazon bruised? Is Amazon on the verge of collapse? We got Netflix here. It came all the way back down here. It dropped more than Bitcoin. Microsoft is on the verge of a collapse here. It's testing out this current one. If it does fail here, which will probably happen towards the beginning of Q2, guess what? It's going to be coming down to $150 or so. Bitcoin is literally leading the market right now, and I think Bitcoin will find the bottom a lot earlier than a lot of these other assets. Look at Apple. Apple is just now capitulating off of this support level. It may be going back down to $100. All right. Now, if we go from all-time highs over here down to about that support level, that's 43% loss. Stocks aren't supposed to fall 43%. Oh, does that mean Apple's going to go out of business? No, they're still going to be enslaving tons of people in the Congo, right? They're still doing their thing. So let's go back to that video. But gosh darn it, sometimes these people are just very, 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 very stupid.
Sure. The technology itself is completely immune to all this. You're absolutely right. The secondary market has been hurt, no question. But as I've mentioned before, good riddance to all the grifters and the outright criminals who are being purged from this space by market forces. It wasn't the regulators who got these guys. Oh, sure. Yes. There have been a series of Chapter 11 filings, and we see this every 4 years in Bitcoin. And 2022 certainly is the one that's attracted more PR. But we had a spectacular, more important failure in 2014, and then another one in 2018. And then 4 years later, here we've had these slew of these. The one in 2014 was much more significant to Bitcoin itself because it wasn't decentralized. This too shall pass. Good riddance. And I look forward to what I think is coming, which is that a clean slate of regulated players who are actually required to be solvent and are required to segregate customer assets those players are coming. It's just like what happened with the tech stock bubble bursting 2 decades.
All right, so that's all we're going to watch of her. But I think she makes a good point. We are going to need regulations here going forward. And we may even see new exchanges pop up backed by the big O companies like TD Ameritrade or companies like that, Schwab, so to speak, Fidelity. We've seen Fidelity going to Bitcoin now. They're going to be backing the new age of companies, and they may make it easier for us to trade. However, those may be better for spot traders out there. I don't know if they're going to be able to compete against Binance if you want to trade futures, trade with leverage, etc. Okay, that comes with more risk, and the government may not like that much risk on an average trader out there. Think of the pattern day trading rule and how much that messes up everything. Now, the last thing we're going to watch here is something that's just interesting. There's, well, 2 videos, I would say. This is just something short. This is him walking into the courthouse today.
Sam, how you gonna believe this morning? Come on, guys. Today. I gotta get in. I gotta get in. Guys, that's it. This course is my well.
Talk about no personal space, but I did love him just like, when he goes to jail, it's going to be better. It's going to be better. Okay, one more thing here, guys. You know what I'm going to show you? This is an amazing video. This is made by the South Park creators to show how fucked up this situation really is.
Hey, hi. I'm SBF, founder and CEO of FTX. My accidental theft of our customers' life savings to create a giant over-leveraged Ponzi slush fund for myself is a tragedy that should have never happened. And to all those affected, I want to say I am deeply sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. Oops. Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry.
I bet he was literally playing that a couple days ago as well.
I'm deeply sorry. Heh. Sorry. Oopsie doopsie.
Tom Brady lost a lot of money.
We got him.
That's all we're going to play the video. I hope you guys have a great 2023, but let's hope that to top it off, we get to see Sam Bankman-Fried in prison. See you guys later on.